Hello, everyone, and welcome to our today's session. Very excited to see you all today here with us. My name is Alina. I'm an Education USA advisor, and here is Education USA Virtual with another interesting webinar. As you already have seen on the screen, we have one more webinar planned for October, but today we're going to talk again about a topic that is very relevant for students who want to have their postgraduate studies in the United States. And we're going to dedicate this topic. We're going to dedicate this webinar to how to fund your graduate studies in the US. And my today's invitee is again Viktar. If you were attentive and if you watched us before, you already know that we had the first webinar in October also with Viktar, and it was about researching the options on how to find your postgraduate program in the US. But today, Viktar is going to provide us a presentation about how to fund it. So I'm going to just give him the floor. He will maybe introduce him once more for those who doesn't know him. I'm very proud to say that I'm his colleague and he has so much experience. And for those who want to push their studies in the US, I think he's a great resource. And Viktar is from Belarus. I think I forgot to mention that. That's also very important. You guys, let us know if you'll have questions. You have the chat box. Submit your question. We'll also have the Q&A session for that. And I'm just giving the floor to Viktar, as I already said. Hi, Viktar, and thank you once more.
Hi, Alina. Hi, everybody. Thanks, Alina, for the introduction. My name is Viktar. I'm Education USA advisor from Belarus, and I have been working in this field for more than 20 years. Today, I'm going to share with you very important information related to getting funding to your US studies. I'm going to say the most important things, so be very attentive. My presentation part will last for no more than 30 minutes, and then you will have a chance to ask questions. Now I'm going to share my screen with you and start my presentation. So, funding graduate studies in the US, key rules and stories. Today, I'm going to share with you several success stories coming from our students in Belarus. I was lucky to pass through various trainings in the United States, but the most important people who trained me were the students. Their success stories. Some stories were successful, some not so successful. So I'm going to share with you the concentrate of the most important information. Before I will go ahead with financial aid tips, I would like to remind you that the base for successful funding is implementation of the appropriate technique in your program search. This is my first lecture, and I'm going to summarize it in a few sentences just to refresh in your memory that if you're looking to receive funding, you must think about studying in the United States as an option to find instrument which will bring you new knowledge and skills. The program is the same to instrument. So you must think about the quality of the program, what is inside this program. And you must follow these 7 stages during your program search. First, develop real motivation. Second, find the exact program name, establish search criteria, use appropriate search tools, conduct filtering, which can be broad and fine, and finally, communicate effectively with US institutions. So think about program content, about the quality of the program you're going to study, and think what you will do with your knowledge in your home country after returning back from US studies. I think It's very important. Now go ahead. So, research your options was step number one, which is the most difficult. Finance your studies is step number two, which is also difficult, and these steps are connected. I'm going to share general information about financial expenses and types of funding. I'm going to share with you success stories. And what is the most important? I'm going to share with you 5 rules on getting financial aid. You must know these rules if you would like to receive funding. My first question to you today is studying in the USA, is it expensive or free? I know that it's a tricky question, but study in the US is one of the most expensive in the world. And at the same time, it can be free. We are going to talk about how it can be free. Now, about the price. The price in the US varies for study, and every year it's going up. It's normal. So you try to think that the project you are going to apply will cost around 200,000 or half a million US dollars. The amount is very big. This amount is divided into two big parts, tuition and fees and living cost. If, for example, you will receive tuition and fee waiver, it means that you will not pay for your studies, but you must to pay for your living cost, and living cost varies from state to state. So the first advice is if you have relatives, friends, or any other options where you can save on living cost, it will be a great step toward your goal. Think about it from the beginning. Now about sources of funding. On this slide, you can see 5 sources of funding. Remember about personal funds. Even if you have 1,000 US dollars in your pocket, it is also good, and I will show you in my presentation why it is good. University is underlined in bold. Why? Because university is the main source of funding. US universities and colleges are mostly very rich. Their budget may exceed budgets, national budget of countries. So if they provide financial aid, they will really pay for your studies if you will fit all requirements and demonstrate perfect match, best fit to these requirements. It is possible. Remember this slide at the beginning with students from Belarus, Kalash? All these students receive full funding from US institutions. The third source is government programs. They have some restrictions. You might contact US Embassy in your country and be acquainted with the list of these programs. Then external sponsors and loans. Imagine you as international student also have a chance to apply for a loan. Now I have a question to you. Please pay attention to this slide. Look carefully at 4 possible options of answers and write in the chat. How do you understand financial aid? You may answer like 1, 2, 3, or 4, put in numbers. So, what answer is closer to you? Think about it now and put the answer in the chat. Okay, I hope nobody answered that financial aid is a charitable act from American University. I think majority of you answer that it's a tough competition of the best, where the strongest wins. So now we're about to understand who is the best of the best from the perspective of US institutions. And I'm going to share with you several success stories from Belarus where you understand why the students receive funding. Let's start with Alexandra. She was accepted to Washington University, Western Washington University, in Master's in Computer Science program. By the way, this program is usually opens door for males. No, it happens. But Alexandra was one of the first who appeared with full funding. She is from regional small city. Her TOEFL was 100, but she had her own research projects, strong recommendations, and she received partial funding. She received external funding and combination of funding from US institution and external funding made this result. Let's go to the next story. Yana, PhD in mechanical engineering, 28 years old. Look at her TOEFL, 79. It's low result, really. But she was successful. Why? You will understand later from my slides. That was her third attempt. Thanks to the Opportunity Funds program, she was successful in her third attempt. Why she was accepted? Because of practical implementation of her own research projects. She had several publications, very strong publication in world-known journals. She participated in the conferences, and she also made research and contacted researchers in the US. So she did a great job and preparation for that. Yana, she was successful in getting full funding for PhD studies in radiation chemistry in Oregon State University. Look at her TOEFL, 69, even lower, but the same. She had contacts with scientists, participated in the conferences, and had international publications. By the way, she was successful in defending her dissertation, and now she is on postdoc. So that was her story. With such low level of TOEFL, she was successful in getting full funding. Hannah, Northern Illinois University, master's degree in communication. High TOEFL, high GPA, flex program participant, global UGRAD program participant. So her background was incredible, and she had a great international experience. So that's why she was accepted to MA in communication, Northern Illinois, with full funding and, of course, with the help of Opportunity Funds program. So here is the portrait of a strongest student. All of them, these people, these students were very different. I would say they were average in terms of their abilities, but what features join all of them? Three main features. They were very hardworking. They were goal oriented. They would like to study in the US because the instrument of getting knowledge was in the US, not because US as a country. The instrument was in the United States. Exact teacher, exact scientists, and exact program which they would like to know. They were very dedicated. Most of them were successful from the second or even third attempt. So here is the portrait of a stronger student. Now, you know how the portrait is looking like. You know the types of financial aid. You know about that financial aid is possible, and we are about to move to the rules. How to get funding for your studies. 5 rules. Remember, if you will use at least 3 rules out of 5, you probably will be successful. But if you will ignore these rules, you definitely will not receive funding. Here are these rules. Look at this slide. We are going to talk in detail regarding each rule. Before we will start with the rule number 1, let's imagine that US institution you are going to study is like a safe with inside each where you can find huge intellectual and financial resources. Your task is to open this safe, to open the door. The door can be opened only if you will select the right code. And the code is your components of success. Who are who are you? What you can show to the university? What you can suggest them? So, you can suggest them the components of your success. The components are like high test scores, strong motivation, high GPA, strong recommendations, professional achievements, social activity, leadership, volunteerism. Combination of these components, right combination, appropriate combination, relevant combination, will open this door. Remember success stories with students who passed TOEFL with 69 or 79. They were accepted despite of this low test. What happened? Because US institutions propose holistic admission. It means if you will have problems, for example, with GPA or knowledge of English, and can explain that, why that happened, and can show the strongest side of your application, you may be definitely accepted to this institution. Holistic approach means individual understanding what happens to you and how you can fit the university requirements, how you can be successful. So think about this and don't be disappointed if you don't have enough of these components of success. During your activities within GSAP, you can improve your configuration and be more stronger. Rule number 1, we are ready to know it. The title for this rule is Financial Assistance in Exchange for Your Achievements. It means the more components of success you have, the higher chances of funding and its level. So that's the rule which definitely work. Let's go to the rule number 2. But before we go to the rule number 2, I would like to answer together with you to all these questions. Don't think it's a lot of questions. You must know the answers because thanks to answering these questions, you will understand the philosophy on getting funding. Why US institutions provide financial aid for international students? Why? So, how much does education cost? Let's say 30,000 per year. How many students enroll? In the US now, it's around 18 million of international students and more than 1 million, 18 million of local students, sorry, and more than 1 million of international students. More than 19 millions. Imagine with the cost of education and number of students, what is the financial turnover? It is huge, incredibly huge. How many universities exist? More than 5,000 accredited universities in the US. What is their final product? Like Plant, who built cars, each university, the final product is a student. It's you. And how is its quality assessed. What is the quality of the final product? It's your success after their graduation. So, what kind of students are universities looking for? Universities will be looking for students who will demonstrate their potential of success after graduation. So, your task is through the application package, through the whole stages of the application, to demonstrate this potential, that you know what to do with your education. You know how to grow in your career in your home countries. That's why, by the way, rankings created. So there are a lot of US institutions with famous alumni, and the same degree may cost you much more in these institutions because these famous alumni made this institution more visible. So now you understand the rule number two. Rule number two means investing in the university promotion through your future career success. That's why you must position yourself as a promising investment opportunity and provide to the university what the university is looking for. Give them what they want. This is very important. Now we're ready to go to the rule number three. Rule number three, personal financial resources. Remember this slide when I show you sources of funding. And the first place was personal financial resources. US institution used this formula to calculate financial need. COA means cost of attendance. Remember this abbreviation. You must think about cost of attendance every time when when you will calculate your funding. So your personal money is expected family contribution. You will declare it in financial form. That's why the more personal funds you invest in your education, the higher the chance that the missing amount will be covered by the university. I observed many times when students have, for example, 25,000 US dollars they declare, and they fit the requirements, they receive funding for the rest of the month. Even if you have 1,000 US dollars, don't hide them, declare and try to apply. Rule number four, type of financial assistance. You remember that there are several types of funding, and you're probably afraid, of course, I understand all of you, of the amounts for your studies. But if you plan in advance different type of financial assistance, it means that each type can cover some part of your education. And as you remember from success stories of our students from Belarus, they really did combination of possible sources of funding. So think about combination and all sources of funding in advance from the early beginning, and think how much from this amount can be covered from each source. Combination open you great opportunity window and understanding that these amounts are not so looking terrible as at the first sight. Also, don't forget that there is an option to work like optional practical training after graduation. There are some changes in this situation, but anyway, there is some options to combination of your work and study opportunities. So think about that as well. And finally, rule number 5. Rule number 5 is shape your own image. You remember at the beginning of my presentation about characteristics: hardworking, goal oriented, dedicated. Be the same. Otherwise, there is no chance. The students with those features will win. So think about working hard, think about your goal, and be dedicated. In that case, this is a great chance to be successful. Learn from other experiences and mistakes. If you fail with your first application, think about how you can improve your next application. Think about your mistakes. And this is the key for your success. Now, these 5 rules on the same slide, I will repeat them to you again. Financial assistance in exchange for your achievements. Think about investing in the university promotion through your future career success. Personal financial resources. Combination of financial assistance and shape your own image. Okay, good. We have few minutes to finish my session, and I will draw your attention to general strategies. Number 1, if you're thinking about getting funding, apply early. Don't apply at the very end. Select universities, programs which match your criteria. Remember about my advices regarding program search. Of course, apply to multiple universities simultaneously. It is important to contact financial aid advisors directly and students or alumni who are currently in the US. When you prepare your application documents, think about burst fit, perfect match in every word, every sentence, which you will write in your application. You should present only relevant information. And of course, use the right tools to search for suitable programs, and do not forget about these 7 steps for program search. You can save your budget considerably if you will request application fee waivers, if you will use TOEFL free options, sending scores, if you will leave off campus, if you will use Duolingo English test, for example, if they accept the result, the test is cheaper 3 or 4 times, and sharing results is free of charge. And for example, for Belarusian students who participate in the cohorts, they can pass this test for free. Don't forget about optional practical training. So here is this collage with students from Belarus. I just want to draw your attention that majority of these students join graduate study program um, in a very low level, with very low level of English and low level of preparations. But they succeeded because you know why? Because they have these 3 features, which I shared with you. That's all. I think I fit my
Yeah,
mm, agenda, 30 minutes.
perfect timing.
I'm ready. I'm ready to answer
You're ready for the questions?
questions. Yes.
Okay, so as you know, thank you very much, Victor, for the presentation, by the way, once more. For those who are now with us, you already know that you have the option to address your question in advance, and we've got a lot of them for this webinar also. So we're gonna put them on the screen. Meanwhile, you can also submit them in in the chat box. So if you'll have more of them, please list them there. We will try to answer all of them. Okay, one of the first question was, Where I can find 30% scholarship after being awarded 70% scholarship by Brandeis University.
Congratulations. If you've been awarded 70% scholarship by Brandeis University, it's a great success. Advice number one, keep all these documents with you at least for 5 years, because you can share, if you will not be successful with this application, you can share this success in future. Advice number two, ask the university for re-evaluation of the scholarship opportunity. Explain your financial need. For example, if you participate in the Opportunity Funds program, or you are a member of graduate students advising program, or collaborate on regular basis with Education USA, you come from low income student family, you can reapply and you can continue negotiations with US institutions. This is normal. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Uh, of course, if you will receive such results from Brandeis and you apply to other institutions, you can inform other institutions about your success and ask these institutions also to reconsider their financial aid packages. Sometimes it works. Of course, please contact financial aid advisor, because this person probably should know any additional options to apply, any small stipends or fellowships, or they can suggest where to apply further. Like, you know, a lot of things depends on your field of study. There are a lot of external programs and sponsors that you can apply through different associations, foundations, etc., etc. So think about this 30% coverage. Um, my advice for students always to keep this opportunity to do the best they can, even thinking about loan, like if 10% or even 20% can be covered by loan, why not? Of course, you must have from the US side somebody who will be responsible for these financial expenses, but please also consider this opportunity. So sorry for the long reply, but it was a quite interesting situation. I
Yeah,
really would like to encourage you not to miss this opportunity.
thank you. Thank you, Victor. The next question: what are the requirements to get a teacher assistantship?
Very good question. Let me explain why. First, because you know about these assistantships. Assistantship is the type of financial aid when you will be required to assist something. In that case, it's a teaching. There are also different types of assistantships like administrative or research. So if you are looking for teacher assistantship, it means that you will be talking a lot. And one um, with students, sharing your lectures, explain um, details. So one of the requirements is knowledge of English and speaking section of TOEFL in particular. Think about that. You know that every section in TOEFL is up to 30. So usually requirements for teaching assistantship for speaking section start from 22. In average 25. In some cases it can be 27. So when you plan your application process, think about these requirements in advance and compare with what you have. Sometimes students have good results on TOEFL, but speaking section is lower than required. In that case, you will be less competitive for teacher assistantship And by the way, teacher assistantships, they can cover huge part of your education in the US. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor. The next question, also related to assistantships: how competitive are assistantships, and how can I strengthen my chances of receiving one?
All assistantships are competitive. It's money, it's opportunities. A lot of international students and local students will apply, so think that they are very competitive. Um, I don't want to disappoint you, but I just want to prepare you for the serious activity, for the serious preparation. Of course, the competitiveness depends on the funding, on the field of study, but the answer is they're all competitive. You can strengthen your chances by presenting best fit, perfect match of the requirements to what you have. Uh, you remember about the rules on getting funding, follow them. And if you're a member of graduate students advising program, just be very serious in participating in all events. Do not miss any training opportunities. And of course, Education USA virtual webinars, because Education USA virtual try to connect you with the most up-to-date information and the most important information which you can use right now. So think about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. The next question: what are common mistakes international students make when searching for funding? How can I find external fellowships from governments, NGOs, or private organizations?
Oh, common mistakes. It's quite a lot of mistakes. I just explain you typical mistakes. Number one, international students sometimes forget that they are international and they try to apply to um, opportunities, funding opportunities for local students. That's the first mistake. The second mistake is the deadline. If you if you would like to receive financial aid, you should apply as early as possible, because if you will be at the last day of the deadline, you would definitely probably miss this opportunity. Also, in many cases, students don't understand how much they have to pay for their education. Remember this abbreviation, COA, cost of attendance. If you will receive financial aid from US institution, please say a lot of thanks to this institution, but definitely ask the most important question. If calculate the cost of attendance to your institution and my financial aid, how much money left for the payment? You must calculate everything. This is also big mistake when students receive tuition and fee waiver and they are crying from happiness. Oh, I'm going to study. They forgot about so many other expenses that's going in connection with your studies. So of cost of attendance. Also, students, they look through the financial aid section and sometimes they didn't consider availability of assistantships. It's a very strong source of funding, and think about that in advance, because this may bring your opportunity of funding. Loans, again, don't play too much with loans, but if you have friends, relatives in the US uh, who trust you, think about loans. Especially if you apply for business fields, sometimes in business fields, you can receive loan even from the institution you are applying for. So that's my answer to this question.
I think I can also add here the exchange programs. Many of the
Oh, yeah.
students who want to pursue specifically postgraduate degree don't know about the possibility of having it. I am highly recommending you to browse the U.S. Embassy website in your country or the consulate, and there you can maybe also find some options. There are a lot of students that have benefited from that, and Victor already, I think, noted the case of a girl that was an alumna of UGRAD. So, so
Yeah.
yes, that,
There is the second part of this question. How can I find external fellowships? First of all, of course, you must provide detailed search from by yourself, all possible options. Number two, contact with students and alumni on this faculty. And number three, the main is financial aid advisor. Then compare information. Of course, a lot of funding depends on your field of study in particular. For example, my major was ophthalmology, just an example. And I know that as a young ophthalmologist, there is a lot of ophthalmological societies across the world. And these societies have funding to support young ophthalmologists. So I applied for a European Society of Ophthalmology and received funding for um, one of the projects, scientific projects. So that's the way how you can act with this. Be don't imagine that somebody, Education USA advisor or financial aid advisor, during your consultation will print out and send you an email with the full list of opportunities, and it will be solution for your case. This process is very energy consuming and hard working. It will require a lot of efforts, a lot of communication efforts, searching efforts, mental efforts. And in your field of study, you even better know whom to contact. Uh, Take advice from your scientific uh, leader or from your department chief or from somebody else who will prepare your letter of recommendation. So it's a um, multiple process with a lot of moving parts. That's in average, in general, how I can answer this question. A lot of stuff depends on your field of study. And of course, do not forget to um, communicate with your Education USA advisor in your
yeah.
country.
Yes, yes, I totally agree. And one last question from those that we've got in advance. How to get full scholarships for master programs?
I need to start
We
my
spoke
lecture.
about assistantships, and this is,
Yeah, from the
yeah,
beginning, but the overall tactic strategy is to think about scholarships and financial aid opportunities in advance. Remember my 7 steps in searching the programs. Remember about broad and fine filtering. It means that on the stage of fine filtering, you will remove US institutions which will not provide adequate financial aid support. Remember, for international students. This is the fine filtering on the program search stage. It's a lot of work, a lot of communication, a lot of activities. So be prepared to that.
yeah,
Nobody except you will not resolve it. We're here to show you direction. the shortest way, but we are not here to do the job on your behalf. Some agencies do, I know. They take a lot of money for this activity, but Education USA, they do not provide this type of activity to do something on students' behalf. So
Yeah,
this is a very brief and simple explanation uh, on this
on this
answer.
question. Yeah,
Now,
and I also can say that you already showcased the cases that you had for Education USA Belarus when the students got there from the third attempt. So it means that the student didn't took the first two ones as a failure.
yeah,
So you might have a lot of attempts, and that doesn't mean that the first two or three or four are a failure in your life. So yeah,
but attempts cost something if you think about improvements, if you think about your mistakes, if
yes,
you think about how to be stronger, how to improve your configuration, and also uh, your chances to be accepted with funding depends on the strengths of the cohort you appear. It may happen that this year exactly the cohort will be weaker and your application will be more withable due to its strengths. So try to reapply with improvements. And if you reapply, you must show for the university what was improved,
yes,
what changed for better sides, what happened after your application last year. This must be beginning for all essays and for interviews if you might have these options to demonstrate the progress, to demonstrate your dedication. Remember that US institution consider you as an object for investment. Imagine somebody will ask you, please borrow me money. Several people will ask you, and you will think before borrowing, I will give for this person because he will return, but I will avoid giving. Sure, she will not return. The same with prospective students. If you are not able to formulate concrete uh, career development, your understanding, what you will do with your knowledge and how you will develop further, if you will not demonstrate the potential that you will be very good student and you will definitely succeed with all the program requirements, you will fail. It's the same like job interview. If you would like to receive a good job, you must fit requirements. So think about what they are looking for, give them what they want through the whole application package, and especially through the interview, because in many cases, especially for graduate programs, you will be asked for interview. And both situations with these PhD students, which failed without their TOEFL scores, they were corrected due to very good interview. Both students demonstrated their knowledge of their field. They confirmed with their interview their background. That's all. So think about that.
thank you, Victor. So I think we are done with all the questions that we had, and I think we are done also almost with the time. Thank you so much for those who have watched us today, and for those who didn't have the time to watch us today, you can have the recording and you can rewatch it anytime. With this, on this note, I can just say that you guys stay optimistic, even though you need to be conscious and critical about yourself. You have seen already a lot of cases when the students didn't have maybe the perfect score for their test, I don't know, the perfect GPA, but this doesn't mean that you cannot succeed. So yes, be optimistic about that. We are here to help you, not do the job for you, as Viktar said. Uh, and we will do our best to give you the best advice we have for your case, because this depends on the field, and I totally agree. Thank you, Viktar, once more.
Thank you, everybody. Good luck with your applications and with your requests, applications for funding. You will
Thank
succeed.
You will, you will. And stay tuned for our webinar on Monday. Next Monday, we have a webinar with two, Viktar mentioned for several times GSAP. We have two GSAPers, by the way, that are going to join us in the webinar for next Monday. So we're going to have Aynash Kudisheva, who's the coordinator of this program, and she will introduce us a bit to the world and all of the successes that the students have gathered during this the first semester. They are now in the second semester, and they will tell us what is the benefit of joining a regional cohort for graduate students, and what is the status and how is the application going. So you will have the opportunity to address the question to them. Go on our website, scan the QR code that you have now on your screen, and put your questions. We will try to answer all of them. Thank you once more, and have a great evening.